going to be your athletic and mental advisor here today. We have Debbie Blackman. She's a hairstylist. We have Nicole Mason. She owns a mobile beauty supply. And we have Amy Lighton. She's here to talk about the music industry for you. So I have a few things for you guys. Have some notepads just in case you want to write down any questions. And I have some pens. And then also, it's a keepsake, so you guys know exactly where you learn the information from. Please do. I have so many of them. Back to me. All right, welcome to Boss Talks, guys. We are very excited to be here today. First question I have for you is, who's interested in starting their own business? Awesome. What kind of business do you want to start?
Like a video game.
Video game. Okay. There's money in there.
Involves with technology.
Yeah, that's dope. What's your name?
Oh, Salvador Mandragi.
Salvador Madari?
Mandragi.
Mandradi. All right. I'm going to remember your name, okay? Because my boyfriend likes gaming. Who else? You said you were interested in small business.
Like a hat shop.
A hat shop?
Make merchandise for this game.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, collaboration is key in small business, especially when you're starting out. And who else? What type of business would you like to start?
I'd probably do multiple businesses.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Serialpreneur. I like that.
I'm interested in a lot of stuff. So probably my main business would be something like technology like his. And then I'd also have a hair salon.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, great. Well, good thing we have a hairstylist and we have a mobile beauty supply here that maybe can help you out with some questions that you might have just entering into the industry itself. You have any questions for Debbie? No, not now. Debbie, you have any questions? Or what type of advice would you give her going into a small business?
I would say that we all have our dreams of how big we want something to be. Can you hear me? But also just look at what you have, and that's the most important, and that's where I started. It's just what I had, which was my hands, my home, and just, my mind, just being able to connect with other people and letting them know what I'm doing. And so, yeah, it's all based off of you and how you want to do it and what you dream. You can definitely do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are not going to sugarcoat it for you guys today about entrepreneurship. It is hard work.
Yeah.
When you hear I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this, that is entrepreneurship. It's not for everybody. However, every 1,000 miles, it takes one step to begin the journey. So never give up. Like that is the most basic cliche, as my boyfriend told me this morning, thing to ever say, but it is the truth. So I have some questions for the panelists. And the first question that I always like to ask is, how did you fund your business from the very start? How did you fund it? Amy?
Oh, how I fund it? Oh, geez. Because I'm in the music industry and I do a lot of promotions. So a lot of it just comes from doing a side jobs and putting that money aside and grinding, just walking the streets and, just as far as, talking to people who know people. And sometimes you get sponsors who will donate money for a cause, for a specific event, because I work with a lot of events, music industry with singers who travel, some who are recording artists. So it takes a lot of talking to people, a lot of hours. But that's how some of the funding came through.
So for me, luckily I have a supportive boyfriend who actually funded me starting my mobile beauty supply store. He gave me the money to, purchase my first batch of inventory. But it's not easy. I lost my job during the pandemic, so income was slim to none. But like I said, luckily I have a supportive, partner who wants to see me achieve my goals and will help me any way possible to help me get there. But it's been a little tough. Any money that I've made from my business literally goes right back into my business to purchase more inventory. I don't have the luxury yet. It's coming, but I don't have the luxury yet to, go splurge and, buy a new car or buy that designer bag I want or new shoes or, a whole bunch of clothes and stuff because, as an entrepreneur, when you first start, the first couple years, honestly, you're going to be putting pretty much all your money back into your business so that your business can continue to grow so that you don't go under. So, that's really how I got started, is just, money from my boyfriend. And thankfully, I do not have to pay him back.
And keep in mind, it does take about a year to 2 years for a business to be established and
It
be
does.
successful. It
And
really
to really
does.
start turning profit. Like you think, okay, I'm getting sales these first couple months, or people are coming to get their hair done, or they're booking me for gigs or whatever. But when you sit down and you start factoring in all of your expenses, you're probably, if you're making a profit, it's not much.
I started, I was in another business that was called Rice for Babies, and so that helped me funded my hair stylist business. And so sometimes, like how you were saying, sometimes it goes right back into your business. And so if you don't have like a huge overhead, it helps. Like some of the stuff I could like reuse, like a comb, or I don't have to keep buying a comb over and over and over again, or the location, if you don't have to pay a high percentage to be where you're at, that's something that you probably have to pay over and over and over again. So it's good to think about those things too when you are starting. How much money are you going to have to spend every month so that you can make, money while you're doing it. So
Overhead.
being a hairstylist is good.
Could you define overhead, sir?
So it's basically something that you have to, amount that you have to pay over and over. Like this.
So over
Like rent,
Okay.
electricity,
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Supplies.
So
like,
for me, my goal is to get an actual brick and mortar storefront. So basically, right now I'm like the mobile version of Mid-K and Living Color. My goal is to take back this industry and get a brick and mortar location just like they have. So for me to get to that next level, I have to start thinking and factoring in my overhead. Okay, for me to go get into a building and to go get into a space, what is my rent going to look like every month? And right now, for me to get into a decent space, my rent is going to be anywhere from $2,000 on up. That's just rent. I have to factor in the high light bill that's going to come with owning a building. I have to factor in, the heat and air, heat during the winter months, air, in the summer. I have to factor in internet. I have to factor in, what my POS, which is point of sale, how you ring a customer out for their purchases, what that's going to run me every month. Security cameras, whatever company I decide to go for security, like, Comcast offers like security bundles. So I have to factor in all of that, and that is what is going to be considered my overhead. Once I get to another level, then I also am going to have to factor in employees. What are they going to make, every day, if I'm going to do salary, or if I'm going to have them be an hourly person. I want to be able to keep my mobile aspect going. So that's another employee I have to hire to drive a vehicle to go and still deliver orders. So all of that factors into, your overhead, depending on what it is that you want to do as a business owner. You might not have all of that. You might have more, you might have less, but that is, I will say, if you want a space, rent is going to be the biggest chunk of your inventory every single month. The landlord does not care whether you sell one shine and gem in my example, or if I sell a case of it. They want their rent when rent is due.
That's right.
It's a little bit different than you living in an apartment. You got a little bit of a grace period with an apartment. With commercial space, it's not really like that. And with a commercial lease, you're locked in for a minimum of 3 years. Minimum. It's not like year to year like an apartment or something like that. It's a minimum of 3 years for the most part. And then with commercial space, you have a little other things you have to pay, like triple net, which is like maintenance on the building, and I can't remember what the other two is.
On top of your
Yeah, and you also have to factor in insurance for your building, because whatever the landlord has for insurance typically isn't great. So you want to make sure you have your own liability insurance in place, because forbid anything happens, your store gets broken into, customers steal, somebody's drunk driving and crashes their car into your building. Most of the time the landlord's insurance does not cover that. So you are required to have your own separate insurance. And then once you hire employees, you have to get workman's compensation insurance. Because if they slip and fall or hurt themselves on the job and you don't have that insurance, they can sue you for everything you have.
Yes.
Sorry, I kind of know I went on a little
Nope.
tangent, but that
You did it.
that in a roundabout way
Yes.
is what overhead is.
And I think you'll
Yes.
see if everyone talks about their overhead, it's all gonna be a little bit different. I don't have as much because I work for myself
Right.
at home. So a lot of my overhead is gonna be the internet, the computer, phone, graphic programs, because I do
Yeah.
a lot of marketing and designing of posters and flyers and videos. And then, and mine is travel too, because if I have artists that are traveling to California for recording, sometimes I'll travel. If they have a gig in Washington or another state, sometimes I'll travel with them. So those are some of my overheads.
So as far as, that was good, you guys nailed the overhead question. Going back to the
Overhead.
funding question, I would say that how I funded my current business, and so my name's Liz, and what my husband and I do, we provide mental and physical training for youth athletes, so 12 and up, and we're opening up a facility. We just got the facility, the commercial space on MLK, 2627 Northeast MLK. So this is we're gonna make it like a Disneyland for kids, like a athlete Disneyland for kids. Like it's gonna have everything that you need to be successful. But for the most part, as far as funding it, I would say I work during the day. So I have a day job, a full-time job, and I work for Multnomah County in mental health. And so I use that money, that stable money that I've been getting for the last 20 years, and I put it away. I put it in a savings account, right? Because if you have a vision, if you have a dream or a goal, you gotta kind of think ahead. And so for us, we just been putting money away, hundreds, thousands, putting money away. And then, so that's one way to fund it. And then we also applied for grants. And so we got a grant for the upgrade of the building. So to make the space look awesome, right? We don't want shabby, we want nice. So we got grants, and loans, we'll do loans and also personal savings. So that's how we fund our current business, yes.
Could you talk a bit about the difference between grants and loans?
Yes. So just simple. A grant you ain't got to pay back. A loan you got to pay back. So we got a loan, and like you can get a loan from your family, right? You can say, hey, mom, dad, can I borrow $10,000 to open up this business? I'm really interested in the gaming world, and I need this money for a computer and some other equipment, right? And your mom and dad could say, okay, yeah, pay me back in 5 years, but I want a little extra. Or they may say, no, I don't need extra, just pay me $10,000 at the end of 5 years. Or they may say, hey, I want interest, and interest is like a percentage. They may say, I want 2% on the money, and I want it annualized. So you could get it like 2% every year, or they could do 2% every month, or however they want to like bill you. And so at the end of the 5 years, you have to pay the $10,000 plus interest, plus extra. And banks do that, right? And some people, like some family members, like, no, I don't need extra. Just give me my $10,000 back after 5 years, or 2 years, or 1 year. So that's a loan. A grant is, there's all kinds of grants. I mean, you can get, we got a grant through, it's a company called Prosper Portland, but you could get grants from like private grants from people, agencies, companies, corporations.
There's a lot, government.
You can get
even
government
for
grants.
Female,
federal grants.
Female minority-owned
Yep,
businesses.
minority-owned business, all kind of
You go
grants.
to school.
Yep.
My daughter,
Yep.
she got school for grants. She got to
Yep.
go through college.
Yep,
for
I
the
got
grants.
a grant.
Yeah.
Yep, I got the Pell Grant, went to Portland State
Yep.
all 7 years, got my master's. A lot of it was grant, not the master part, but the undergrad grants, got scholarships. So that's the, equal to a grant. So, yeah.
And kind of to piggyback off of what you said, so with loans, I will say you want to be a little careful with loans because, and also as you're becoming of age, you want to, see if, your parents are able to put you on, especially if they have like a good credit history and they're paying, their credit cards off or they're paying them on time. Especially if you want to get into the business, and this is something that I wish I would have known when I was you guys' age to go to my parents, ask them to put you on their credit cards. Because what that is going to help do is that's going to help build your personal credit. And to get a loan, a bank is not going to look at your business because most new businesses, it is really hard to get a loan. The hardest thing in the world to do is build what's called business credit.
That's right.
It is so much harder than building your
takes
personal
time,
credit.
yes.
It takes so much time. It
Yes.
is ridiculous.
Yes.
But ask them to put you on their personal credit card because that's going to help you build your personal credit.
Yeah.
So by the time you're 18 and you want to go to the bank and maybe apply, for a business loan, they're going to be able to pull your personal credit and say, hey, you have, great credit history. But that's not all that they're going to need. They're also going to need what's called a business plan. You have to in detail say what your business is, what your goal for your business is, what you project your business is going to cost over the next 3 to 5 years. And right now, that is the stage that I am in, because I'm trying to take my business to the next level, and I have a company that, which a lot of people don't know, so this is kind of like an exclusive announcement. I am working with a company. A gentleman moved down here from Seattle specifically to help small business owners who are Black owned, and he wants to help me get into a commercial space.
Nice.
And so right now, I am in the process of, I have a meeting later today with a gentleman to sit down and help me tweak my business plan. My business plan is good, but it's not bank ready. And so the bank wants to see literally everything lined out to a T. They want to know how much my inventory is going to cost, the sign that goes on the building, how much that's going to cost, what it's going to cost for me to pay employees. I want one of those vans that look like Amazon's so that I can still be able to offer the delivery service, which is what grew people to my business in the first place. I got to let him know what that's going to cost, how much it's going to cost for my marketing. So, you also have to, have that. So if you can go the route of grants, I would say go the route of grants, because you don't have to stress yourself out about, okay, not only do I have this overhead every month, now I have to think about paying this loan back as well. And just like the landlord, the bank ain't gonna wait for their money back. They will come and snatch that money back, or they will come and snatch your business from right up under you. So if you can get grants, I would say go that way. But if you have to get a loan, that's okay too. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it at all.
Right.
Any questions? Did we just intimidate you guys? No? Okay,
But
good.
I'm just going to say, if utilize what you have to start your business, literally. If, like for me, it was just a phone and the computer. And that's what I did. And talking to people, going to gigs, getting to know people. So I didn't have to invest thousands of dollars. Okay? So I started off easily, and I'm telling you, it's taken me about a year and a half to get to where I am right now. Right now, Kenyatta would know, I'm going crazy. I'm literally, the downfall is I'm working 15-hour days right now. I don't sleep. On my phone call, I'm getting meetings with artists at 2 o'clock in the morning. And then my phone will start ringing at 6:30, 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning, because we're talking about East Coast time and California. Whenever they're done practicing or from a gig, so I have to catch them, or they have to catch me when they're available. So don't let this overwhelm you. This is a lot of information, but really think about what you really want to do. Like gaming, that's computer, stuff like that. Business, decide what kind of business you want. But really think about what you have at that point, so that way you're not, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. Really, there's a lot of research on the internet. I mean, there's a lot of information and there's plans. There's a lot of things that guide you on things that you need.
And also, I want to add to the fact that, like, when I was 12, I literally had a lemonade stand. I had lemons in my kitchen, and my mom, we made some lemonade and stood in front of the house, and so many people bought lemonade, and I was like, sweet. And I got addicted to entrepreneurship in that way. So I started with, like you all said, with what I had, and it wasn't overwhelming. I loved it. I loved seeing smiles on people's faces. I was making money. I was like, bet I got like $10 extra. You know what I mean? Back then, $10, I go get 25-cent pop and some chips at the corner store. You know what I mean? That's entrepreneurship. So it brings a lot of joy. And I think just like the passion, that thing that you can't stop thinking about, just go for it. And I did different businesses. So I didn't stop at the lemonade stand. I'm like, well, shoot, let's keep it going. Like, I love helping youth and adolescents feel better about themselves. And so I listen to them. I'm a good listener. And not that I got paid initially, but that brought me joy. And then I ended up studying mental health and being a counselor. And I'm like, I love this. I want to work at the high school. So I worked at Park Rose. I'm like, I love this. Like, and then now I want to take that into a business. So it doesn't, like, sometimes don't start off like, I'm going to be a business owner. Sometimes it's just like, birthed out of your passion. Like it just comes and like it just evolves, and then you meet awesome people like these ladies up here, and then you collaborate, you work together, you get ideas, and
You network.
oh, you know about this grant? Well, let me apply. You know, like it comes together that way. It's not like all once, like boom, like you got to all know it at one point. No, it's evolves over time. You know, so.
Absolutely.
And a couple things to piggyback off Liz. One is I had a lemonade stand too. And let me tell you, like, you might think that it's corny, but when I say adults love to see kids doing some type of little business, it does not matter if they just came from Chick-fil-A and guzzled a whole 32 ounce of lemonade. If they see you on the corner with a lemonade stand,
They will stop.
They will stop and buy
I
another
just bought
lemonade.
yesterday from a
They
kid.
do not care whether you got a lemonade stand, you got a little baby table out there selling chips,
Yes.
hot dogs,
Yes.
you know, candy. Like,
Yes.
I remember in elementary school, we had to go around and ask, you know, for people to buy them little candy bars to do what we called Run for the Arts. That's another little nudge of, you know, entrepreneurship. So whatever you want to do to kind of help start you and get you into that groove, to even see if being an entrepreneur is something that you want to do, start small. Ask your parents, hey, Mom, can I, you know, get $20 or something, and we go to Costco and buy a big old thing of chips, and I sell them, you know, on the corner to people, you know, and you can see, you know, what that profit is. And I'm in a group for beauty supply store owners, and you know, one of the things that one of our coaches told us, he owns a huge beauty supply store in New Mexico. It's like over 5,000 square feet big. He's huge. And it took him a while to get to that point, but he always tells us your net worth is your network. Meaning the people that you know and you start to collab with is going to help you get that net worth that you want. So don't be afraid to reach out to people and, you know, make connections and make friends, you know, with people like you, young lady. You said you wanted to own a beauty salon. Don't be afraid to, if you know people who do hair, ask them, hey, how did you get started? You know, what advice can you give me? Or if you or your mom go to a beauty salon, ask the, you know, men or women who work in the salon if they would be willing to talk to you, or maybe, you know, mentor you. I think times have changed where us as adults, now we don't mind sitting down with a young child who wants to get on this journey, because we would rather see you want to do this or maybe go to school than to be, you know, potentially out in the streets. So like for me, if a young girl came to me and was like, hey, Miss Nicole, you know, I'm thinking maybe in 5 to 7 years when I get old enough, I want to own a beauty supply store. Would you mind sitting down and talk with me? No problem. No problem. For me, I don't look at it as my competition. I look at it as me trying to uplift someone else and get into this industry. It's so much money in the world to be made. There are some people out there who will be like, no, I'm not going to help you. You're my competition. You're trying to do what I'm trying to do. And that's okay. But you're going to have more people who are willing to sit down with you and talk to you and give you the game than not.
Absolutely. Whew. Definitely.
Side hustles. So do,
Side
They're
hustles.
very important. They really are. I funded my first business. Literally, I worked 16 hours a day as a call center manager. Oh gosh, 16 hours a day. And I drove for Lyft. I said, you know what? If I can work for somebody 16 hours a day for pennies. And make them what they're probably making $1,000 off me a day because I'm good at what I do. Like, why wouldn't I give myself that same type of commitment? So I committed to first work for myself on my business 1 hour a day. And then after a couple months, it was 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. Ooh, 4 hours a day. I'm getting somewhere. Now I'm at the point where I can start reaching out to people to say, hey, I have this. How do you benefit from it? And can I paint in your bar? Because I have a paint and sip company. So I was like, can I paint in your bar? I got literally 719 no's before I got my one yes.
And still to this day, they're still in LA doing my painting classes for me.
Which is how you and I met.
Exactly.
Because I booked you at
Yes.
a venue that I.
And I expanded that up to here, up to Portland. But that's how I funded. And then finally it got to a point where I was just like, you know what? I can do this. I can do this on my own. And not just me, my network. My network. I have a network of dope entrepreneurs that were at first extremely intimidating. Like I did not have a voice. I did not believe in myself. I was the small bee in the back of the room, just soaking everything in, but never saying anything. But once I got the courage to get out there and start a second business, no one could tell me anything, and I do not keep my mouth shut anymore. It's like, you know, and in saying that, this is why we like to help uplift and just build entrepreneurs, especially the youth. So I wanted to share, I did some research on like one of the most successful kid bosses. His name is Corey Neves. Does anybody know who that is? Corey Neves. I might be saying his last name wrong. Forgive me. It's Nieves. So he's a boss. So he wanted to help his mother purchase a car so they wouldn't have to ride a bus everywhere at 9 years old.
Wow.
9 years old, he started selling hot cocoa at an inn, a hotel in Inglewood, New Jersey. From there, he expanded to lemonade and cookies. He sold everything for $1. $1. He's now circulating and selling thousands of cookies every week in thousands of different stores nationwide. And he's only been in business for 3 years.
That's boss.
So 9, 12. He's 12 years old and probably making like Oprah money, you know? Like, you're right. Right? So don't be afraid to start now. Like, you can start whenever your heart says you're ready. Like I said at the beginning, there's 1,000 milestones and goals. It's going to look like it's so far and so hard to attain, but you just have to take that one step and believe in yourself and believe in the people, your support system to help you.
And don't be afraid or intimidated by those no's. She got 719 no's before that one yes came. All those no's before that yes just meant it was not in her path to deal with those particular people. You know, sometimes you get told no, and yes, it hurts, because trust me, I still get told no in this beauty supply business, and I be like, really? Like, really? But then my network has my back. So whatever, you know, these distributors tell me, no, oh, you don't have a storefront, we can't give you an account. Okay, that's cool. I got a way around that. I'm finna order with my beauty supply store sister. You can't tell her no, she has an account. You don't know I'm ordering with her. So don't be afraid of those no's. Let that be your fuel to keep going and to prove those people, okay, you told me no, but watch this, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I can still do it. And don't be afraid to fail.
It's not just in that, because it's a musician too.
Yeah.
Because I sit here and they cost me for a musician. I say, well, this is how much it costs, and this is who you're getting. So I'm presenting a product, right? And I'm people on stage singing, you know, or a single person singing, and they'll say no, but then they'll book somebody else for less money, you know, for less money or the same amount of money, but that talent is not very good. So they didn't bring in people. So they lost money versus somebody who bring in 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people.
Essentially, you get what you pay for. So if you want to go the cheaper route, you're not always going to get the best quality of something. You have to spend money to make money. And sometimes it hurts. Sometimes you don't want to sign, you know, that check for that $1,000 invoice, because you're looking at that like, oh, I could do so much with that $1,000.
Go shopping.
No, for real. But to get to that next level, you know, you have to do it, and you kind of just have to, you know, jump out there and not be afraid. This is my third business. My 2 other ones failed. And to be honest, it's because I really didn't put my all into it because they weren't businesses I really wanted to do, to be honest. But once I started this, I really had sleepless nights, you know, up early in the morning trying to catch East Coast time. You know, it's a 3-hour time difference. So when they open at 8 on the East Coast, I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I might have just went to bed at 1 o'clock. And so, you know, like she said, when you hear blood, sweat, and tears into a business, it's literally the truth. I have had many sleepless nights trying to figure out stuff. And, you know, in the beginning, you might only be able to put an hour or 30 minutes or something a day into your business, and that's okay. As long as you're doing something to your business, that's okay. Whether you are on the internet for 30 minutes researching how to start, or you are looking at YouTube trying to figure out how to start, as long as you are doing something every single day towards your business, it's going to help. It's going to help. You don't have to right out the bat spend 12, 13, 14 hours on your business, because you will get exhausted. It's hard work. But as long as you spend some time every day towards your business, you're going to see a difference, and you're going to see your business start to grow.
You're just educating yourself by doing that, because then you'll remember that. Like, you may not, you know, you'll think about something right now, and then I'm not ready for this, but then maybe 5 months down the road, you're saying, oh, I remember reading about this, and it'll click. Things will start clicking.
Let's talk about wins. Let's talk
Yeah.
about some wins. Amy, let's have some of your wins over the last year.
Oh, wins. The wins are that I'm going to backtrack just a second. I got into this industry because my youngest daughter, her youngest sister, sings. So I drove around because I know athletics. I mean, my family they're all sports. I mean, she was recruited around the United States for volleyball, for a position in volleyball. She chose academics because that was a better deal for her with the grants and the scholarships and everything that she got. But all of them, my youngest one sings, and then my middle one models. So they weren't pursuing it. It just happened. So I spent many years. She's 21 now. She was 8 or 9 when it started.
Wow.
So I was driving around, and I was a taxi cab mom. I drove, and I was a single mom. I raised 3 girls by myself, and I did it. They went to college, everything like that. So you can't do it. But sitting there listening to the band members, listening to the venues where they performed at, listening to people complaining about certain things and how they're being treated as musicians, and how this lack of respect. So it took a lot of years. So I learned, and so now in the last year, because I've started doing this, or year and a half, I now don't have to knock on those doors. People are calling to me. Like right now, I'm sitting here. I had 3 phone calls. I can feel the vibration on my phone. So I'm getting phone calls. People are calling me all the time. And so that's a win for me. And now I'm working with some label artists. Like, one of the artists was going to be here with me today, but he's actually prepping. He's in the studio right now. So he could not be here, but I think he'll be with me next week. But he and his twin brother, who is actually in California, who just got off a tour, worked with Simon Cowell, and Nick Cannon actually is on, I forgot the artist's name, but was on a featured album that was just released a couple months ago. But they were with Warner Brothers. So, in reality, they're still under contract because there is some stuff that happened, so they can't release some of their songs, so they're still under contract. But he does travel, so I'm working with some national acts. I've got people who are calling me to tour them here in Oregon or in the Pacific Northwest, where before it was just like a little bar in a corner street somewhere. But now I've kind of let go of some of those, and they're all coming to me, and they're the top-notch bands here in the Pacific Northwest. So those for me are wins, because now they're coming to me, and I've earned that respect from them.
Wow, absolutely. That's big. For me, wins this past year, I have shipped to 11 out of the 50 states. I have hit my first country.
Sweet.
I have been on the news. And I am, I think, like 20 orders away from hitting 500 orders.
Yay. So I would say those are, thank you.
Yes.
So I would say those are probably my wins over the past year. And of course, actually getting started.
You should throw a personal party once you get to 500.
Right?
All right.
Thank
Yes,
you.
that's
That's
you know what? I'm gonna take your
Personal
idea. I sure am.
Mine's
Mine's spinning over there.
Yes.
See, that's the mind of an entrepreneur
Yeah,
right there.
right.
Look
That's
at you
right.
already.
Yep.
Celebrate your wins.
For me, over the past year, just getting into a new location, which helped me to double in my income. And so that's a win. And just also being able to connect with more of the community and just feeling more resourceful. And that has made me more happy, but it's also helped me to market more and being more comfortable with marketing. Before I was kind of just word of mouth, but actually putting forth like my work and just being confident and just, continue to build. So it's really a win for me because it's a growing process. And so, yeah.
So I would say it's been the major win is us getting in this facility on MLK. I'm born and raised in Portland.
Yeah.
Like I went to Humboldt, I went to Tubman, and I went to Benson. I was supposed to go to Jeff, but
Oh,
I
Benson,
transferred to
okay,
Benson.
Benson,
I went to Benson, okay? So like we were on point. We were number one in the state, but it's irrelevant. But in track and field, but let's not talk about that. Track and field, yeah. Let's not talk about that. But so so I would say, it kind of gets me emotional because for me to return back to the community I grew up in, the place that there was a lot of bad and good that happened to me, a lot of abuse, a lot of good stuff, a lot of bad stuff, fights, jumping, all the stuff, like all the things I've been through, to come back and be that resource for my community. I wrote that in my scholarship because you have to write like a statement of like why you want to get this scholarship. And one of the things I said was I read that. This was like 20 plus years ago. And I said, I want to return to my community and be a resource for my community. You know what I mean? In some way or form or fashion. And to help young folks who are dying inside like I was back then. You know what I mean? Like empty. Nothing was inside of me. Like to help them get the help they need, and get them connected to help. And so I'm here today saying that for me, that's a huge win. Like the building is 3,500 square feet. It took us a year to fight for this. Like we tried to buy a building, that didn't work out. We tried to do all the things. And we did all what you was talking about earlier. I was like, I know, like I get it. A lot of no's, a lot of nuh-uh, you ain't got no business credit, all the things. And we connected with some awesome people who helped us get to this point. And so that's a huge win for us. We got a $75,000 grant to help us upgrade the building. We are in the process of being approved for a loan that took so long to update the business plan, blah, blah, blah. Finally, we're going to get approved. And we got some people who are supporting us. We're connected. We're just on and on and on. So it's just good stuff this year. But yes, last year was a lot of sweat and tears and crying and frustration. But, there's the reward at the end. So just keep at it. Don't stop.
Don't give up.
Don't give up. Don't let
up.
no one say it's impossible. It's not. You got this. I promise you.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys. My win, first of all, I'm still in business. Over the last year, I opened an event space, and it's really successful, more successful than I ever thought it was going to be. I just wanted to do my painting classes. And then the time that I wasn't doing my painting classes, I wanted to offer the space at a really cheap price to our community because it's nice, and I've gone through...
Beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I've gone through so much over the years renting places, but due to COVID, people weren't responsive, places were crap, but extremely expensive. So I said, well, here's what I'm gonna do, open my event space, and now it's taken me on to things that were in my 5-year plan. I've only been here in Portland for 2 years, and this is a huge accomplishment. Being here with you guys today, my Boss Talk series, it started just for Black women entrepreneurs and how to build our network together and show each other, teach each other how we can do things better in our businesses to grow. So that's why we're here today, and it's a huge accomplishment. So that just takes me into my next question for everyone. What is your business, work, life balance?
Do I even
See
know?
that? Said, did you hear 16-hour days?
Oh.
How do you get self-care?
So for me, oh, go ahead. No, you go.
You sure?
Yes.
You got the mic.
She said she already got it.
So for me, I am a single mother, and it's been a journey of even the whole self-care talk. It's like a journey, but just sticking to a schedule that works for me. And my son, he's 8, and so he likes to do things. So every Sunday, it's one of my days off, we go somewhere. I don't care if it's like bowling or, swimming, or we do something, to kind of refill us and, kind of spend time together. But I do enjoy, like the other day, got my nails done, my toes done, or, just little things, and just basically just, listening to motivational things and connecting with people who are motivation and who keeps me accountable and kind of like speaking to my life and just kind of help me push forward. And so all of that to me is like self-care. It doesn't necessarily have to be physical, but it could also be mental, or just being around family or, loved ones, basically just feeding in to you, and so I like to stick to a schedule. I don't like to overwhelm things or myself, because I also have another responsibility, which is my son. So that's my little spill on that.
I would say for me, I love the schedule piece. I have a schedule, I have boundaries, and I learn how to say no. Like, for me, self-care is saying no. Like, I tell my son, you say no first, and then you think about it. Like, because you could, to your friends, say, oh, when you going to go here, we go here. Learn the word no, and then check in with your mom and dad, and then get back to them. So for me, my husband and I, we have a lot of kids. We're a blended family, so we have 8 total. So my youngest is 14, and he is a baller. He loves basketball. And then the oldest kids are soccer players. One was like national, like #1, represented the United States, went to Guatemala, Brazil, all these places, and played soccer. Then another one played basketball, another one played basketball, another one played, I think they all played basketball except the soccer players. Anywho, so with that, because we have so many kids and they're adults, but because of that, we've learned family time is important. And so we don't work on, for us it's Sunday, I try not to do too many meetings. I try not to schedule too many things on Sunday, so that's our family time. But I am flexible, because sometimes opportunities come and I have to respond to them. But I try to keep certain times sacred. Yeah. And then also for me, getting my hair done, going on, I'll tell my husband, let's go on a date night. And we do date night once a month, and we have it at the end of the month. We always do the last Friday of the month, and that we do keep sacred. I don't care what it is. I learned to say no. Sorry, because that's important. That's the foundation of our business and our life. If we do not put that first, we will crumble, the business will crumble. It doesn't even make sense. And so you have to, that for me, if you have, y'all have friends, certain times you gotta say no, and then you have the friend times. You can say once a month, this is my friend time. This is the time we go chat and do this, or twice a month, or however often, once a week, I don't know. Y'all probably talk every night, sorry, not once a month. No, your life is not that busy. Once a week or whatever, I don't know, twice a week. However often, if you're running a business and my son doesn't even, let me take this back. My son doesn't have a lot of time, because he does basketball, he travels, he's in school, and then I have him getting tutoring stuff. And so he don't really have a lot of time with, that he can play with friends. So he has times that I say, you can play on these days. You can kick it on these days. But we're going to Salem this weekend. Last weekend we was in Seattle. Next weekend we're in Vegas. He don't really have a lot of time. Mm-hmm. So, I think too, as your schedule tightens up, you got to learn how to say no. And that's, for me, self-care, is learning how to telling people no. Next week, schedule another time with them. So, and then also, doing something nice for myself. Taking myself out. Sometimes I'll just take myself out for coffee. I don't need nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you busy, you busy. Oh, I'll just go get myself a cup of coffee at Starbucks. That's for me. That's what fuels me.
For me, honestly, I don't really have a balance, which is so terrible. It's so terrible. Just because, like, for me, this business it changes every single day. There's new trends that are always coming out, so I have to try to stay on top of, the new trends, what people are buying for their hair, stuff like that. But I have to learn the word no. Because I am always the one who someone calls, hey, I need you to do this, or can you help me with this? I'm always like, okay, sure. So I have to learn that boundary to start saying no. But for me, I try to take a day off. It's a little difficult because I offer delivery every day, 7 days a week. You can get your stuff delivered. But I have a cutoff time, Monday through Saturday, 8 p.m. cutoff time. You can't have nothing delivered after 8 p.m. I don't care if you place your order at 7:45, it's coming the next day. Sunday, I shorten it. It's 9 to 6 p.m. And I have my DMs on Facebook and Instagram for my business page shut off. So once 8 o'clock hits or 6 p.m. hits on Sundays, if you send an inquiry to my business, it's going to kick a message back that says we are closed, and we will respond during the next business day, because I found myself sometimes being up doing research, and I would get that notification that somebody sent me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. It'll be 11:30 at night, and I'll find myself responding. And I had to, cut that off. I do tell people, if it is an emergency and you need something delivered, you can send my business an email. And if I deem, you might think it's an emergency, but if I deem it's not an emergency, I'm not coming to deliver your order. But if I deem that it is an emergency, for an extra fee, an emergency fee, I will get up, out of my bed or whatever past my cutoff time to come deliver it. But
tip me. Or just kidding.
I do got it. No, I have it set up now on my website for tips. Yes, I do have it, because a few people have asked me about tips, and at first I was like, no, I'm not really in that. Like, I'm not a waitress or nothing like that. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Service.
Service.
Yeah, people started telling me that, like, no, you do a service that nobody else offers.
right.
So I opened up the tipping on my website. I sure did. No, but I am trying to, find that balance, so that I can do, self-care, and even if it's just like an hour, a day or a week, because I'm gonna tap into my psychology degree for a minute. You don't want to develop what's called burnout.
That's right.
Burnout is real. Whether it is you are getting burnt out from the business you're doing yourself, or whether you are working for an employer and they are working you so hard that you experience burnt out. It is very exhausting. I experienced it working in the corporate world. I was burnt out. I would literally sometimes take my job home with me. I would literally sometimes walk in the door and just drop everything at the door and like collapse to the floor because I was so exhausted. And I told myself I would never get to that point again, whether it was working for somebody else or working for myself, because your body is going to start to break down on you if you do not nurture it and give it the proper rest and nourishment that it needs. You don't have to, go out and go to happy hour, go party with your friends. You can just say, hey, you know what? I know you want to have, happy hour today, but I just need this time to be all about me. I make posts every day of the week to promote my business. And for example, I title Sundays Self-Care Sundays. So every Sunday I post a tip regarding self-care. This past Sunday, I believe my tip was, today is all about me. And I made the word me really big. So I shared that on social media to let people know, like, if you want to consider today Self-Care Sunday, you can, and let people know today is all about you. You want to focus on you, whether you want to sit on your bed or your couch or your floor and meditate for an hour, whether you want to read your favorite book, watch your favorite TV show, make your favorite food you like to indulge in, whatever it is you want to do, you have to, find that balance. And, like I said, for me, it's a little hard with my business, the delivery. I help my cousin with her 7-year-old son. She just had a baby Monday. So I had him all weekend. He just left last night, thank goodness. Because he is 7 and he is like the Energizer bunny. So trying to, take care of him like he's my own, focus on my business, answer business phone calls and stuff. It can get, very tiring, but you got to find that balance. You have to. And like Liz said, even if you just schedule, 2 days out the week where you chat with your friends or, go hang with your friends. The summer is a little more easier because, you're out of school. Some families do travel for the summer, some don't. So, you just have to find some time during the week, once a week, to just focus on you, whatever, your heart desires that you want to do, to focus on you. You have to do it. You have to.
My, geez. It's so good. Now, my industry, it's very difficult to find a balance. But, like you, I try to make Sunday a day that I don't look at my phone or try not to touch my phone. Doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And then, by the way, I took time yesterday to get myself something to eat. I didn't cook. I didn't want to spend the money, but I said, screw it. I did it. I went and got Roxy's. It sounded good, and I went home, and I had told my daughter, I said, you're going to go with me? She goes, no, I can't. And I said, okay, well, I'm going. But because I can't, where the place of my business is right now and with the kind of people that I'm working with, if they call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, an artist says, I'm going to be in this state at this time, can you find me somewhere else to play to fill up a day? Or if I find a venue, or right now it's festival season. You got car shows, you've got Hair Fest just happened in North Portland this weekend. It's Wild Hair. I mean, there's lots of festivals at the beach, and because COVID's going around, a band has to cancel because they can't perform. So they're calling me, I need a band, this is how much we pay, and I have to answer that phone call. So it's very difficult to find that balance. I mean, I can't even respond to poor Kenyatta. She sent me an email like 3 days ago. She goes, hello. It's like, so it's very difficult, and you do have to learn to say no. I think you see that in everybody. And when you're starting a business, it's going to be very hard to say no. And then people are going to, with me, people want to become my friends because of who I know and who I work with. And you have to learn to be able to see, are they being your friend because they're genuine? Right. Or if they want to ride on
Your coattails.
your coattails, yeah. And so that's been very difficult because I've had some friends and I've lost some friends because of that. But if you lose those friends, they weren't meant to be there.
Absolutely.
Right. They weren't meant to be there.
They're not meant to climb that
Yeah.
ladder with you. Everybody.
Don't let anybody bring you down.
Yeah.
So that's what, I mean, mine's pretty simple because I do work from home. And my office is in my home. I do have meetings in my home. So it's hard for me to separate the two. Yeah. So I have to force myself to go on a walk in the mornings when I can get up and I have, had some kind of sleep. But going to walk or going out with friends, meeting up with friends, hey, let's go have, a drink or lunch or something like that. I have to force myself to do that. So you do have to really take care of yourself. Eat, drink, water, whatever you like to make you feel good.
Absolutely.
And you will have people, if you don't learn to set that boundary to say no, you're going to have people who constantly, want you to do something for them or go here or go do that. And when you do finally set that boundary to say no, those people are going to get an attitude. They're going to be like, oh, well, you just told me yes a couple of weeks ago and now it's a no. Yes, it's a no because I have to now set this boundary because I'm feeling like you are starting to take advantage of me and, you know, what I have going on. You're not, excuse me, being respectful of my time and what it is that I'm doing. And like Amy said, you might lose some friends along your entrepreneur journey, and that just means that they were not meant to climb the ladder with you. I unfortunately lost a really good friend of mine. We were friends for, I don't know, 15 years. And as I started to kind of climb this journey, we started to go this way. Phone calls got less and less, hanging out got less and less, texting got less and less. And, you know, it wasn't like a bad, you know, falling out or anything. It's just, I think we both are evolving and, you know, our paths just were not meant to, you know, cross anymore.
Those are separate ways.
And that's okay. Yeah, it's okay. Well, boundaries, say no, get some self-care in. Self-care can be anything. Just a walk in the park, hanging out with a friend, just taking time for you. I think this is a good time to take a break.
Yeah. Anybody has to go to the bathroom, head out. We got 5 minutes.
All right, we're back, guys. So we are going to talk about something really fun because we now have Raylan Logan of Gray Digital Marketing in the building, okay? And she is our social media branding. She's the guru. She's the GOAT. You got.
She is.
She's that one.
I've been working with her, and she's been whipping me into shape.
How many of you guys have social media accounts? Yeah? How many of you guys are actually active on them? I mean,
I feel that.
me too. Okay, that TikTok is considered
TikTok. Yes, it is.
right. Okay,
TikTok.
TikTok is considered
I
also.
think I'm probably the only one who don't know how to work TikTok.
No, me too.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't. So Raylan, anybody have any questions about how to boost your social media followers, how to get great content, creative ideas, all that stuff? Raylan. Yes.
Insta followers.
Amy.
Don't buy them. Don't buy them.
Amy, can you show your mic?
Oh, I got a mic, y'all. It may never go away. Alrighty, getting more followers. So, the whole purpose of social media is to be social. It's in the name. It's a beautiful trick that they did for you there. But when it comes to Instagram specifically, one of the best ways to get followers is to follow others, But not just follow them. They don't owe you anything. They don't have to click follow back. You have to ensure first that your profile is top to bottom, squeaky tight, and everything nice. So if you're not telling folks what you do, what you're about, all those pieces, and you only have one post, they're probably not going to follow you. Reality. But what you can do is ensure that those pieces are done first, then start following folks and say something nice. So like comment on their posts, check out their story. If you meaningfully can respond, meaningfully. So it's not like, that's a cool cat. Meow. Like, no, it doesn't start a conversation. But if you can start a conversation, you're like, oh my gosh, I love that you go jet skiing. I don't know why I chose jet skiing, but that's what we're going with today. I don't know how. Cool that you do jet skiing. Like, where's your favorite place to go? I would love to learn more. It looks like we're both in Oregon. Do you jet ski on the Willamette? And so the ability to create those conversations, not only are you going to end up with followers, but you're also going to end up with people who know, like, and trust you, which ultimately, if we're talking from a business perspective, means they're more likely to buy from you. So having a social media is great and a following is great if you're an entrepreneur, for all of us lovely ladies up here, but a following of 10,000 without any dollars attached to it is kind of a waste of time. So if we really look at it from that standpoint, you really want to ensure that you're creating meaningful and lasting relationships when you're increasing your following, because likes don't equal dollars, y'all.
And whatever you do, don't buy followers, because most of the time they're bot accounts, and it can mess up your algorithm.
What about promoting your posts?
And then there's a question right
Sponsor
there.
your posts.
Because I always see that, like, boost your post.
Mhm.
Boost your post.
Yeah, don't do that. That
lose on it
should have
every
came with a
month.
trigger warning. It's not worth it. So ultimately, as fun as social media is for us, we are the product of social media, and social media is essentially a media agency. So they make money by people paying for ads. And so when you boost posts, you technically aren't targeting it as much as they make it seem like you're targeting your core audience. And you're boosting it for more likes or potential followers, but it's not the same as doing it within the Facebook Business Suite itself. And so it is the lazy way out, essentially, with limited return. So if you're really into throwing away money and putting it inside a garbage disposal, by all means, cool, but probably not your best idea.
She had a question right there.
Salvador, did you have a question?
No, she did.
Oh. Anyone have a question?
Was that such a mic drop moment? We just got quiet.
You did.
Now I have
Let's go. Okay.
Don't do it.
Should you use Twitch?
It depends on what you're doing.
Like if you're,
Okay. Let her know what you're doing.
Yeah, I try to use Twitch.
you can stream live what you're playing to people. You can actually make money off of it because you can donate like points and stuff.
Yeah, my brother does Twitch. He hasn't made any money yet, but people have said he hasn't like gotten to the point where people can donate.
Yeah.
A lot of people use the tactic of generating what is known as a simp or whatever. Basically, a female streamer will try to look hot and people will donate thousands of dollars to them.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Not wrong.
Oh, it's like an OnlyFans thing.
That's what it sounded like.
Right.
It's like an OnlyFans account.
money like that.
My son knows all these things. I think
So-
he said something. I don't know. Sounds familiar.
You don't have to just game to Twitch. You can also stream cooking videos or design videos.
Okay.
Most people use it for video games though.
Most
Okay.
people, it started out as a video game platform, and you don't also have to get dolled up to Twitch, everyone. Just a word to the wise, you don't have to be hot. It's not a prerequisite.
You don't have to be hot.
Any other questions?
What about Twitter?
Oh, Twitter.
That's your toxic.
You really love the things that like make you go, whoa.
You missed out on the first part.
Ooh, I like full of toxic people. I feel like it should just be a sign that goes over my head.
Mine is allowed to be a radioactive waste dump.
Oh, Twitter is trying to be purchased by Mr. Tesla. What's his name?
Oh, is he?
Elon.
Yeah, he's about to get sued by Twitter because he wanted to back out because his Tesla stock went down. And he now doesn't have the money to purchase Twitter. You know what? This is a really odd conversation to have with middle schoolers.
We knew we didn't know where it would go.
So you can
But
tweet
good.
about it. It's a great place to be
Right,
sassy.
yes.
It's also very toxic.
I would say,
Right, they know.
I'm not like a marketing genius like Raylan, but I would say for business purposes, do not use Twitter.
Twitter has a bunch of.
I don't have, well, I have a personal Twitter, but I don't have a business Twitter. I feel like Twitter is more so where people want to
Rant
go, rant and go vent without being judged.
and show their horrible opinion.
Yes,
That's right. That's
exactly.
correct.
Something to start an argument.
Yes,
It's
that
an
too.
opinion
So
might
I
change.
would say business purposes, stick with Instagram and Facebook. Because you will get caught
Oh,
up.
yes.
Oh, yes, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a
LinkedIn
great
runs supreme.
resource.
I've seen a lot of small businesses like blow up really big in a small amount of time on TikTok. Like,
Yes.
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 No, but they're promoting their business.
Yes.
Well,
One
one
thing-
thing we should think about social media is not necessarily where most of your dollars happen. Social media is just the top of the sales funnel.
I would say regarding Twitter,
I love TikTok.
I would say regarding Twitter, the only thing is I got a lot of feedback from college coaches. A lot of coaches go on Twitter for some odd reason. So our athletes, I would say that would be the only use of that I use and that I see that it's a benefit for our business because we're a sports, mental health and physical health training facility. Is a lot of coaches use Twitter, and so our athletes, have profiles there and they get looks. And so, anyways, that would be my only thing besides Instagram and all the other places.
Like for me, being in the beauty industry, not really many people who are looking for, a beauty supply store or something like that are gonna go to Twitter. They're either gonna use a Google search or more than likely they're probably going to look on Instagram and, search hashtags like beauty supply store or, something like that. So for me, Instagram and Facebook are my go-tos. I have a business page on Facebook and Instagram, so that's where I do a lot of posting and things like that. But honestly, I would say probably like 85% of my customers, I have no clue who they are. I don't meet them until I go deliver their order if they're home. Most of the time they're not home, so I just leave it on like their porch or something and, take a picture proving I delivered it. They have found me either word of mouth. They have like seen me post in different, there are different groups on Facebook that you would want to join that, would be dedicated to your business. So like for you want to go into gaming. So, on Facebook, you want to find different groups and communities that you can join that would be good, for gaming that would allow you to, once you get to that point, to be able to post your business. So people tell me all the time, oh, I found you in that, group on, on Facebook, or, I heard word of mouth, or they did like a Google search and I popped right up. That's another thing you want to have when you get your business is you want to create a Google business profile so that when people do a Google search for hair salons or, a gaming, studio in Portland or something like that, you want to be able to pop up on that Google search. If you right now type in beauty supply store in Portland, you're gonna get Living Color, Mid-K, and then about 2 spaces down, you're gonna get me. But if you type in Black-owned beauty supply store, I'm the first one that you're gonna see.
I think ultimately when you think about social media and what platforms you should be on, the number one thing you need to do, and this is a secret, everyone, so open up your notebooks, you probably should ask your ideal customer base. Where are they?
Right.
Where are
Right,
they? Because
right.
if they're not on Twitter and you're
Right.
up there tweeting up a
Right.
storm,
Right.
and they're hanging out on Instagram and
Right.
TikTok,
They're not gonna see it.
you're not going to
That's
see
right.
it. So you're wasting your time.
That's right.
The next thing you need to put into consideration is, where do you like to be? So if you like to be on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and your ideal audience is on LinkedIn and Instagram, then the ideal platform for you is Instagram, because that's where the two overlap. And because you're going to enjoy showing up every day. Let's not discount ourselves. And they enjoy showing up every day, so you can add value to them. Because at the end of the day, we're here to serve our customers. They are how we live. And it's about them more than it is about us. So you really have to figure out, where are they hanging out? Where do they want to be? And that will dictate what social media you're on. I'm primarily on LinkedIn and Instagram because I teach mostly about Instagram. But for the most part, all my followers sit in LinkedIn.
And one thing with social media, like Raylan said, you want to be comfortable and show up to, whatever social media that you're on, because you're going to have more fun. And you want to create content that you can have your following engage in. And that is something that Raylan taught me. And you also want your business, whether it's Instagram or Facebook, you want it to be cohesive. So for example, my colors are turquoise, gold, and black. When I first started posting on Instagram, my posts were all over the place. Like, some were white, some had pink in it, some had all these different colors that were not in my color scheme. And when I started working with Raylan, she was like, no, everything needs to be able to flow and mesh together. And so now, when you go visit my Instagram, well, don't go all the way down because I still need to delete some posts. But I will say, my posts over the past few months, if you go look, they literally all have the same color scheme. And the main color scheme there is turquoise, because that is my main color of my business. So when you see my posts, it all looks like they mesh together. And Raylan explained to me, when people go look at businesses, they want to see that because it helps them realize, okay, this is a real business. They're not scatterbrained. They're not all over the place. People are going to take you more serious when they see that cohesiveness.
Mine's all over the place. But then, I've got, purples. My business cards are purples. But I'm doing music. So we've got greens, we've got reds, we've got pinks. And they're all bright colors. They're not pastels or like that. So you're going to see colorful lights. You're going to see fashion. You're going to see the strobes. You're going to see all that stuff.
And we have a question? Can we have a question?
Oh, well, I have something to say. Well, two things actually. One of them can wait though. Main thing is, when I hear this, I instantly think every business kind of has its own style. Everyone has its own kind of mark.
Yep.
Yes.
Everyone has their own way of doing it.
Individuality.
Yes, their own brand. Yeah.
Something that you can recognize them for.
Yes.
Exactly.
Especially with
The brand.
colors, yeah. It's has this distinct style. Oh, they do that kind of stuff.
And with your
Awesome.
content, I also learned from Raylan, so what I used to do is get up every morning, think of what I wanted to post, and then make my content. You don't really want to do that. You want to try and plan your content ahead of time. So now what I do is, even if it takes me, 3 days, because, I might have orders coming in like crazy, I will sit, which probably in a week I need to do it for August, but I will sit and literally start making my content for the whole month. So last month for June, the last 3 or 4 days of the month, I sat and literally made all of my content for every single day in July. I mentioned to you guys earlier, I do theme day. So Monday I focus on men's product. Tuesday, I give great hair tips. Wednesday, I focus on wigs. Thursday, Raylan gave me a good idea. Now I focus on things that are going to moisturize your hair so that I can use that hashtag Thirsty Thursday. I do on Fridays, I do what's called Flavor Friday. So I take two similar items
And I basically ask people, and this is my engaging post, what's your flavor? Do you like this product or do you like this product? You know, sound off in the comments. Saturday is kind of like a business, like a shop small business type of post, and then Sundays are my self-care Sundays. So I do it by day. So, you know, I start on Monday, I get all my, you know, figure out what my content's gonna be for the following month for every single Monday, what man product I wanna, you know, focus on, and then I move on to Tuesday. And once I do that for the whole month, I go in and I schedule for emails to be sent. I used to try to figure out, okay, what can I send for an email? And Raylan was like, you already have your emails. Take your post that you're gonna put on Instagram, for example, Wednesday. Take that wig that you're gonna share on Instagram on Wednesday, put that whole thing, literally copy and paste it into an email and send it off. You're done. I was making it too complicated. And so that is something else you wanna do, is take time to plan your content. It's gonna make it so much easier, so much easier. Now all I do is get up in the morning and I post for that day. I don't have to think of, okay, what product am I gonna post today? What do I wanna talk about? I literally already have it done.
Mine's a little bit different. I will get the events when a band is booked or there's an event that's been planned. The event page on Facebook has been created, but we can't, it's hard for me because I need to wait almost like as soon as that weekend's like Saturday. Once that Saturday's events are done, then on Sunday, I work for the following week because we want to get as many people to that weekend's event and not take away from that weekend from the following weekend. So it's very strategically planned. It's like when I book the bands, same thing. Where have they played? I'm not going to play I'm not going to book them at this venue if they just played up the road the weekend before, because that takes away from the venue's money, and even for the band as well. So mine's almost like monthly and weekly, and sometimes day of.
And there's also nothing wrong with posting. Oh, we're not very good at sharing
No,
the mic, y'all.
we're not.
There's nothing wrong with day of posting. But the more prepared you are, the easier life is.
Those are last minute gigs.
Yeah, like the easier life is. So yes, go live on your story if you feel like going live. Like just do it if something strikes you. You also have current events. Heaven knows the world's not stopping. So you may need to respond, but as long as you have something, the purpose and the point to both of these ladies is consistency. Okay? People want to know you're going to show up. They want to trust you. That means you have to show up. But some days, you might want to go float the river, and you just don't want a social media.
Yeah.
We have technology for that. So make sure you have things scheduled and then still have the ability to show up when you want to show up. Because at the end of the day, it's also about your mental health. It's also about your mental health.
I think what I've noticed is we're in an awesome, unique time where individuals like your age, like 12, 13, 14, 15, y'all know so much about social media and you have so much success on social media. So my son, he's 14, he's like, Mom, I got 2,000 views. I'm like, wait, what? And I'm struggling with my 500. You know what I mean? And you got 2,000, 3,000 views. Like, what are you doing? And I look at his content. It's sweet, short, straight to the point. It's interactive. He got his hat on, his North Carolina hat, and he's asking a question up top on his TikTok that young folks want to know. I don't know. It's like, what if LeBron tried to shake your hand and he likes Curry better, so he goes like this. Like, he acts like he's shaking your hand and go like that. And then he's got like 3,000 views, and everybody, and I look at it, it's like, that's funny, So I looked to him. I don't necessarily I collab with adults on it, but I actually collab with a lot of kids your age and be like, what is, especially because I work with youth and kids and stuff like that and teens, I'm like, what's hot? You do this social media. So I actually have a young folk doing it. I try to touch it. I do the Instagram too, and I do a lot of videos and lives because I train athletes. So people want to see them jumping on hurdles. Kids like your age, they want to see them do push-ups. They don't want to see me. Like, I already know I could do that, but they want to see your age. So I think too, just y'all experts in this subject, in my opinion. Yes.
Guys, this one time I got over 20,000 views on TikTok.
See, come on.
Wow.
That's what I'm talking about. I told you.
Wow.
Listen,
What was your video?
We might need to collab.
Right, listen, that's what I was thinking. Also, that's a great opportunity to collab. Collaboration is key because the youth right now and your fire and creativity with social media. I mean, really think about like getting together and maybe approaching some businesses. Make some coins.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do so.
Because
You know?
yeah,
You
it
definitely
would help,
would.
It would help
Yes.
you, and it's gonna help that business
Yes.
as well. So it would be a win-win situation for both parties involved.
And that's what we love about collaborations. Everybody wins.
Yep. You can charge and say, oh, I'll charge you. No, I'm just gonna throw this out there. I'll charge you $20 an hour for my services to do X, Y, and Z, or $200 for this project. I'll help you get 20,000 views. I mean, you guys could come up with.
I love you.
You
Right,
know,
right, me too.
Charge like 40.
Look, you guys can do whatever you want, but I just think you can make good money in the summer when you ain't. You know what I mean? I need somebody to help me with. Besides my son, I need some help.
Okay, that's what I'm like.
too.
We might need to collab.
Tabitha? Tabitha, you have a question?
I just wanted to give us all the 15 minutes till the end of class heads up and let the panel know that earlier, before you got here, we were learning about small business and how it has a really strong and important presence in the community, not just the local community, but the entire, And so if you all would talk a bit about what it means to you when someone buys from you instead of like, I don't know, going to Sally Beauty or whatever, because we learned that we had an awesome quote: when you buy from a small business, a real person somewhere does a happy dance.
That's
is so true. That's great.
1,000% true.
really is.
When you buy from, like for my example, I'm in the beauty industry, so when you go and buy from like Sally's or Target or even Walmart that has like a small section of hair care, the person at the top of the food chain, they do not care. They just, they're just seeing every single store is bringing in a certain amount every month and every day. They don't care. They're already, millionaires and maybe even billionaires. But when you buy and support a small business as myself, I'm literally, like she said, like no lie, like I get the biggest smile on my face when my business phone pings that I have a order, whether it's me going to go deliver an order or whether somebody in another state has found me through a Google search, and I have to pack it up and go take it to the post office or something, for it to get to them. Like it really warms my heart because it's like, okay, my hard work and my sweat and tears and my sleepless nights, nights I'm going without sleep, days I'm going sometimes without, eating or whatever, because I'm so focused on my business. It's really helping, and it's helping me build something that I will be able to, when that day comes for me to be blessed with children, I will be able to leave, my children with something. Like each order for me is extremely appreciated, more than my customers will ever know. And every so often I put that on social media. Like I just want to let my customers know, like whether you share my post, whether you have told somebody, about me through word of mouth, whether you have come to visit me at a vendor event, or whether you have purchased something from me, all of that matters. Because if it wasn't for you guys purchasing or telling people via word of mouth, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. Those big corporations, they don't care that you tag them on Instagram or Twitter that you bought something. 99% of the time, they're not even seeing your post. But with a small business, you probably have just the owner, like myself, or they might have a small team of maybe 2 or 3 people. So it's more likely that that small business is going to see your tag, is going to be able to respond to you and say, thank you so much for your purchase. It really means a lot to small business owners. You're helping keep their lights on. You're helping keep, if they work out of their home, you're helping keep, a roof over their head more than with a big box corporation, if that makes sense.
Definitely. And I think also when it comes to small businesses, we also make an impact in the community by just connecting, being able to connect and new things, bring new customers that would have never been in a neighborhood, but they came specifically for mine. And there I gave, lost my train of thought. Sorry. I promoted my neighbor and they may get this customer out of it, and it just trickles down the whole block, you know. So that's also good. But like Nicole said, we as small business owners, we're probably the only ones doing everything, wearing all 22 hats. If there is someone to help, you know, like great, but we're still probably doing the bulk of the work. And we see each and every comment, tag, whatever it may be, every single order. When I get an inquiry on my website that someone wants to book my space on a weekday, our rate is only $100 an hour, and they want to book it for 3 hours. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to be there to greet you because you know what you did? You just helped me to pay my janitor.
Yep.
And he's a minority-owned small business. He has 3 employees, and that helps them to feed their family. You know, so every dollar is recycled and important to the communities.
Like when you go into like Walmarts and Targets and things like that, you're never going to meet the owner of these businesses. But when you go into a small business, there is a high chance that you are going to meet the CEO and the owner of that small business. Either A, because they're stopping in there to pay their store a visit, or B, because they are literally working their own store. You know, everyone knows of the Walmarts and the Targets and, you know, all these places because they have so much money to be able to put into commercials and, you know, all of that stuff. But for us small business owners, we don't necessarily have that luxury. We can't go out and spend $10,000 to do a commercial for people, you know, not only in our city, but potentially across the world to know of us. We have to, you know, start from the bottom, and that is social media, you know, word of mouth, you know, from our customers. So it, you know, it helps. And like Kenyatta said, like that $300 for her, literally no one knows, but it could have been her saving her lights from going off. So you never really know what your dollar really truly means to a small business.
So like for me and for my industry that I work in, it helps to know that I've got national booking agents and promoters who are reaching out to me because that's through word of mouth. That means I'm providing the customer service that they want to work with versus the big national promoter that's here in Portland. So they would rather come to me versus them because they're only going to promote their favorite bands versus showing them a book of how many artists you actually have to work with. So that's huge when you're working with, you know, if you want to, you know, compare, you know, a local business to a national business. When you have a national business coming to a local small business owned, you know, it speaks volumes.
Definitely does. Anyone else?
I also like just the individuality of the being yourself. You could just be and provide what you provide, and that people are able to come and receive what you have. I was talking to the young lady that was in the back room earlier. She was just talking about her niece and how she's a hairstylist. But as a hairstylist, you talk to a lot of your clients, and sometimes you're helping them through situations, or you're even encouraging them to do something that they've always dreamed of. They may not have that connection with family or friends, or, you know. And so it's just important to, and I think it's just very inspiring to others to be doing something that you're proud of. There's a lot of unhappy people, but when you have
those relationships, those business relationships with your customers, and where you get to know them and you create that repeat.
Yeah, and when you're happy and when you're pushing forward and over the hurdles, it's inspiring, and it makes young and old, you know, tap into that community and connecting with others in business. And I like it. I love it. I love what I do. I love that I get to inspire, connect. I like the hurdles. I like all of it. It's like me, you know. It's what I do. So yeah.
I think a lot of things, but I named my marketing agency after my son. So Gray is my baby. His full name's Grayson. And At first, I just did it for him, and now it has really morphed and shifted. Now I do more consulting and partnering, and I get to help grow small businesses. And just to see many of these ladies that I see day in, day out, I mean, if I need an event space, I just call Kenyatta. I'm like, you free? What do you got? You know, I talk to Nicole often. I was actually talking about her this weekend when I was walking down the Mississippi Street Fair and seeing other folks that I help. And I think when it comes to being in business, you have two options. You can go work at a company and you can build somebody else's dream, or you can turn around and you can go build your own dream.
Yes.
Yes, both are going to be hard. One is going to get you trips around the world, and the other may or may not, depending on if they want to promote you or not. So you have to really ask yourself, do you want to live your own dream, or do you want to live someone else's? Because at the end of the day, every dollar counts for us ladies sitting here.
Yes.
Every single dollar counts. Even if we have a ton of it in the bank, it all has a special moment to us. I also work in corporate, and I worked in retail. I'm here to tell you, if you're,
That's not fun.
yeah, no,
You're just a number to them.
you're just a number, but so is your product when you're in big stores. Your product's not doing well, didn't have a good line that season, they're gonna cut you for whoever has the highest profit marginability, and they're gonna send it back and be like, hey, we can't sell this. So, things you need in life, you need to understand math, and you need to be able to dream. Those are the things you need. So take math class seriously. You get nothing else from me.
I also want to add to that, you know, being a small business is also bringing life. I think you guys were talking about bringing life to the community. Because growing up, it was all boarded up on Mississippi. Like, I grew right around the corner of Mississippi, and just a crack cocaine epidemic that happened in that community, it just ripped it to shreds. And so I grew up with no commerce, no businesses, nothing. And I was standing on Mississippi, catching number 4 every day, and it was no people. Just imagine, no people, no business, no people. And what business does is bring life. Now you see lots of businesses on that street. It's brought life. There's a lot of people, small businesses. And so the thing is that money that we get as small businesses, it goes back into that community. I go to the local store. I use the money that I get from, you know, athletes come in, their parents pay, or they pay themselves, depending on how old they are. And I use that money sometimes and go back and go and support these businesses up here or other small businesses in the community. And so that's what it's about too. So, and then you bring more life, and then there's more people, and like, it's all good. It's all gravy, so.
Absolutely.
And I think it also helps kind of fuel jobs as well. Like, yes, these big corporations, you know, a lot of them will have, you know, now hiring signs and, you know, things of that nature. But with small businesses, I think we have the opportunity to be a little more lenient. You know, someone might come, you know, into our establishment looking for a job, and, you know, their background, they might have gotten into some trouble, you know, in the past with the law, and their background might not be as squeaky clean. And depending on what it is, we might be a little more lenient to maybe give them a second chance, because of a lot of these big store corporations, when they run your background check and they see that you have a blemish on it, they don't give you second chances a lot. They will say, unfortunately, we cannot hire you for this position. You know, you have X, Y, and Z on your background, like, we don't accept it. Yes, there are some businesses, especially here in Portland, that will give people second chances, but there aren't a lot. And a lot of people, they make mistakes in life. That doesn't mean they shouldn't be able to work and provide for their family, because a lot of people change. They made a mistake and they're like, okay, crap, I don't ever want to do that again. I don't want to feel like this. And so they work to change their ways. And a lot of small business owners are more willing to, okay, you know what, you have this, I'm going to hire you. Let's see how this goes. And most of the time, those people who got in a little bit of trouble and you hire them, they end up being some of the best workers you can ever have.
Absolutely.
That's real.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we are coming to a close. Thank you guys so much for being here today, for inviting us here. I am Kenyatta Sykes. I own PDX Sweet Spot and Painted Entertainment on social media. PDX Sweet Spot and Painted Entertainment.
Black Star PDX, Instagram, Facebook.
My sister next door, Instagram, Facebook.
Nicole Mason, owner of Elegant Boutique Beauty Supply. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook at Elegant Boutique Beauty Supply.
Mine's Packed House Entertainment, and I'm only on Facebook at this point because I haven't had time to do the Instagram.
We already tried to look. I was like, where is it on Insta? She's like,
I'm doing everybody else's. Everybody else's.
And I'm Raylan Logan. Name is not that easy to spell, which you can find me that way, but you can also find me at Gray Digital Marketing, and marketing is MKTG.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
you
I think it's
guys.
lunchtime, but Debbie has a couple of things for you guys. If you have any questions, you can let us know. We're done for the day.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Can you guys thank them?
Thank you.
I wanted to give a gift to you because you want to be a hairstylist, and then I want